Being an archaeologist can be a cold and grimy job, but if you asked an archaeologist, they'd gladly tell you that all those bitter, uncomfortable days are worth it for the incredible things they occasionally uncover. There seems to be no end to what our ancestors left behind, and we've rounded up some of the most remarkable finds for you in this video. Let's kick off things with number 15. Lion Tombs of Dedan. The Lion Tombs of Dedan are exactly what the name suggests. They are stone tombs, carved with lions, located in Dedan, now part of Alula, which is located in Saudi Arabia. For years, experts believe the Nabateans built them during the 1st century, but recent theories suggest they may be even older. The kingdom of Dedan is mentioned in the Hebrew Bible's book of Ezekiel, placing its existence at least 2,600 years ago. The tombs themselves are etched into the mountainside of Jabal Dedan, adjacent to the buried remains of the fortified city. According to belief at the time, being laid to rest high in the mountains helped the soul ascend more quickly to the heavens. It's a belief that mirrors those of the ancient Lycians in Turkey. Most tombs are unmarked, apart from names carved on the stone, but the ones adorned with lions likely belong to Dedan's elite. Despite centuries of weathering, the carved lions still show traces of their original majesty and hint at the power of those once buried beneath them. Number 14. The Lioness of Gobedra, just outside Aksum, Ethiopia, on a lonely hillside called Gobedra, lies the outline of something strange. Etched into the stone is the figure of a lioness. According to local legend, the mark was burned into the hill by the archangel Michael after he battled a fierce lioness and hurled her into the rock. That story, of course, is folklore. I mean, how can it be real? But the carving is real, and its origins remain a mystery. Western scholars didn't even know it existed until 1913, when a team of German archaeologists recorded it for the first time. The carving could be thousands of years old, yet there's no clear record of who created it or why. Some historians think it may have been used as a landmark, a signal that travelers were nearing the ancient city of Aksum. That's plausible, but with no inscriptions or dated artifacts nearby, it's impossible to confirm. The lioness sits in silence, as it has for centuries, offering no clues and answering no questions. Number 13. Cadiz Phoenician Anthropoid Sarcophagi. The Cadiz Phoenician Anthropoid Sarcophagi aren't known for having a catchy name, but what they lack in title, they make up for in historical weight. These marble coffins, carved roughly 2,500 years ago, were significant enough that a museum was built solely to house them in Cadiz, Spain. The first, a male sarcophagus, was discovered in 1887 at the Punta de Vaca necropolis. Its remarkable craftsmanship sparked both national interest and academic obsession. One such scholar, Spanish archaeologist Pelayo Quintero Atori, spent years convinced a female counterpart existed and searched in vain. Ironically, it was finally unearthed during routine construction in 1980, just steps from where Atori once lived. The male figure bears a beard, wears a tunic, and clutches a pomegranate-shaped object. The female figure is more youthful, plainly dressed, with faint traces of reddish pigment in her hair, evidence that both sarcophagi were once fully painted. Together, they form one of the most iconic and mysterious pairs of Phoenician funerary art ever found in Western Europe. Number 12. Toltec Mounds. The Toltec Mounds in Scott, Arkansas, officially known as the Plum Bayou Mounds Archaeological State Park, don't look like much from a distance. They blend into the landscape like ordinary hills, but they're anything but natural. These carefully shaped earthworks were built by the Plum Bayou culture more than 1,400 years ago. The tallest rise is just under 50 feet, though erosion means it was likely taller when new. Their exact purpose is still debated, but they probably serve ceremonial, religious, and political functions. One of the largest mounds revealed a pile of animal bones during excavation, suggesting it may have been a feasting mound. While similar mounds often contain human burials, only one here has been confirmed as a burial site. Their positions were intentionally aligned with the rising sun. The name Toltec Mounds came from a misidentification linking them to the Toltec people of Mexico. By the time archaeologists realized the mistake, the name had stuck, and it's remained ever since. Number 11. Yaz Tower of Silence. There's something deeply haunting about the Towers of Silence in Yazd, Iran, and once you know their purpose, it's easy to see why. For centuries, these towering stone platforms were central to the Zoroastrian ritual of sky burial. Rather than interring the dead, bodies were laid atop the towers and left to decompose in the open air. It wasn't an act of cruelty, it was a sacred way of preventing contamination. Zoroastrians believed that corpses became spiritually impure immediately after death. To stop the spread of that impurity, they arranged bodies in concentric circles, men on the outer edge, women in the middle, and children in the center. Vultures, sun, and wind would strip the remains down to bone. Once clean, the bones were collected and placed in ossuaries built into the towers. Though the practice dates back thousands of years, it continued until just 40 years ago. Now silent and empty, the towers still stand as stark reminders of a belief system that treated death with both logic and reverence. Number 10. Angels of Eka-Balam. The so-called angels of Eka-Balam continue to spark debate, but one thing is certain: they weren't inspired by Christianity. These figures, carved by the Maya over 1,200 years ago, appear on the grand facade of Eka-Balam's Acropolis entrance in modern-day Yucatan, Mexico. The name Eka-Balam translates to Black Jaguar, believed to be a reference to the city's founder. At its height in the 8th century, the site may have supported as many as 18,000 inhabitants. The winged figures are dressed in ceremonial attire, clearly human, but they each have feathered wings emerging from their backs. Some have speculated that pre-Columbian contact with cultures like those in Turkey, where winged figures feature in ancient art, could explain the resemblance to angels. But a simpler theory is that the winged forms represent figures from lost corners of Maya mythology. If that's the case, the similarity to Christian angels might be nothing more than a coincidence. Either way, they are the most mysterious Mayan carvings. Number 9. The Green Skeleton of Asturias. In the Archaeological Museum of Oviedo, Spain, lies a Bronze Age skeleton that stands out for one eerie reason: its bones are green. The man's remains spent millennia buried in a copper mine, absorbing copper sulfate until his bones took on a distinctive, unnatural hue. He lived during the Bronze Age, and while he was found in a mine, it's doubtful he ever worked in one. At the time, the Asturian elite were sometimes buried inside abandoned mine shafts. It's believed these burials may have held religious meaning, perhaps symbolically returning leaders to the earth in hopes of pleasing the gods and ensuring future prosperity. No inscriptions or tools were found to confirm the theory, but the context and burial placement suggest it was ceremonial. Spain was in the midst of transformation during this era, as early metallurgical societies like the Asturians began adapting their traditions and beliefs to fit a new world. It's a haunting thing. Number 8. Bonampak Painted Rooms. Bonampak might not be the largest Maya site in Mexico, but in terms of preservation, nothing else comes close. Tucked in the rainforests of Chiapas, the site's name translates from Maya as painted walls, a perfect reflection of what you'll find there. Within just 3 rooms of a single modest ruin, nearly every surface is covered in murals, including arching ceilings and entire walls. These paintings, around 1,200 years old, capture scenes of Maya rituals, battles, music, and celebration, giving unmatched insight into daily life and spiritual customs. While the building's exterior art has faded from centuries of exposure, the interior images have survived thanks to the shelter of thick stone. Restoration efforts began in the 1940s when the rooms were first opened to the public. Today, access is strictly limited to viewing through glass to prevent further damage. Ongoing conservation hopes to preserve these brilliantly colored murals, offering a rare glimpse into how vibrant and detailed Maya visual storytelling once was. Number 7. World's First Dental Fillings. Few people enjoy dental visits, especially when fillings are involved. But for the individual buried 13,000 years ago at the Ice Age site of Riparo Fredian in Italy, there were no anesthetics, just stone tools and pain. In 2017, archaeologists discovered the skeletal remains of someone with severely decayed front teeth. The cavities were deep enough to expose the pulp chamber. Instead of leaving them untreated, someone attempted to scrape out the decay using a handheld implement, likely worsening the damage. Afterward, the cavities were packed with bitumen, a sticky, tar-like substance that served as a primitive filling. It's unclear whether the treatment was done to relieve pain or simply to seal the tooth, but it shows an astonishing level of prehistoric medical awareness. This is the earliest known example of a dental filling in human history. The next time someone complains about the dentist drill, they might want to remember this patient who endured something far worse without any of the comforts we take for granted. Number 6. Artificial Island of Alsace. The idea that ancient people might have constructed artificial islands 1,200 years ago seems difficult to believe, but in Bahrain, evidence says otherwise. In 2022, British archaeologists revealed that Alsace Island near Muharraq might be man-made. For centuries, it was assumed the island formed naturally, like others nearby. But recent research suggests it was deliberately built using a method called sea filling, which involves stacking coral blocks to form protective walls and platforms. Beneath one such platform, researchers found a freshwater spring harnessed by an ancient mechanism to draw water directly from the seabed. This spring may have been vital for supplying boats docked along the island's quay. It's also believed that this island may have played an important role in Bahrain's early pearling industry, as access to fresh water was critical for seafarers. The discovery came just in time. The island was on the verge of collapse from erosion. It's now protected on Bahrain's National Heritage List for good. Number 5. 14th century synagogue beneath a bar. In 2023, archaeologists excavating beneath a bar in Utrera, Spain, uncovered the remains of a 14th century synagogue. That alone would be noteworthy, but it holds deeper significance. After the 1492 expulsion of Jews from Spain, most synagogues were destroyed. This one, however, survived, making it one of just 5 known to still exist. Instead of demolition, it was converted into the Hospital de la Misericordia. Remarkably, the transformation spared much of the original structure. The entire prayer hall is still intact, along with the hekel and the surrounding bench. The local council has now assumed ownership, with plans to restore the floor plan and structure as closely as possible without disturbing the historical layers. The long-term goal is to open it to the public as a preserved site. Excavations are still underway, as researchers are hopeful they'll uncover the women's section or even the ritual bath. This discovery not only preserved the stones of the synagogue, it also brought back a nearly erased chapter of Jewish history in Spain. Number 4. Galen Sipp's lost medical text found in hymnal. In 2015, researchers in California X-rayed what was thought to be a medieval hymnal and found something extraordinary hidden beneath the music, a 6th century translation of a medical manuscript by Galen. Born in 131 CE, Galen was a Greek physician whose influence lasted well into the Renaissance. His lost work, buried under layers of overwritten parchment, belonged to his famous treatise of Galen. The reason it was hidden? Ancient scribes repurposed older parchment by scraping it clean to reuse, creating a palimpsest. The hymnal was written roughly 1,000 years ago, while the underlying text predated it by centuries. Galen rose to prominence by performing tricky dissections and once earned his spot by outsmarting rivals in reconstructing an eviscerated ape. He later served as Emperor Commodus's personal physician. While many of Galen's ideas were flawed, he was one of the first to link brain trauma to loss of movement or speech. His rediscovered text shows just how much ancient knowledge still lies buried in plain sight. Number 3. The boat coffins of Pujiang. In 2017, construction workers in Faizashan village, Sichuan province, stumbled upon a remarkable burial site, 2,200-year-old boat-shaped coffins buried beneath what was to be a modern development. Luckily, they halted work and alerted the Chengdu Cultural Relics and Archaeological Institute. What followed was the excavation of 60 tombs across a space larger than 30,000 square feet. Of these, 47 have been studied so far. Every tomb contained a coffin made from nanmu, a rare and rot-resistant wood. These coffins, designed in the shape of boats, likely date back to the Warring States period between 475 and 221 BCE. Most scholars believe this is a Shu cultural burial ground, although a few elements show hints of the earlier Qin culture as well. The reason for using boat-shaped coffins in a landlocked area remains unclear, but the choice of such valuable timber and the elaborate construction suggests a deep spiritual or symbolic meaning. Because the Shu left behind no written records, the full story may never be known. Number 2. Fresco of St. Paul. In June 2011, restoration workers inside Naples' catacombs of San Gennaro uncovered a breathtaking 400-year-old fresco depicting St. Paul. The artwork was discovered while cleaning and preserving ancient Christian burial chambers. It shows Paul with delicate features, thinning hair, a long neck, a faint beard, and pale eyes, wearing a white robe embroidered with the letter I, likely short for Isus, the Latin name for Jesus. The image adds to the iconography of Paul, a crucial figure in early Christianity. Born into Judaism, Paul once persecuted Christians before converting and becoming one of the church's most influential voices. His vision on the road to Damascus, where he reportedly saw Christ's light and heard his voice, became a turning point in Christian history. Ironically, Paul later faced his own persecution and was executed for the very beliefs he once attacked. The fresco not only deepens our understanding of early Christian art, but also reminds us how faith, identity, and transformation were viewed through the sacred lens of time. Alright, now, let's end this with Number 1. The Bloomberg Tablets. Despite the name, the Bloomberg Tablets have nothing to do with media. They were discovered beneath the Bloomberg Building in London during 2010 excavations. These wooden tablets are the oldest handwritten documents ever found in the UK, predating even the famous Vindolanda tablets. Experts believe they were created between 50 and 80 CE, during Britain's early Roman occupation. The writing is faint and often difficult to decipher, but the content has been roughly categorized. Among them are 43 letters, 25 legal records, 8 financial accounts, and 14 labeled miscellaneous. Included are Britain's earliest known financial document and records from a pre-trial hearing. These writings reveal a society that was already literate, administrative, and highly structured. Though many of the texts are damaged, their survival is extraordinary, especially considering they're made of wood. Waterlogged conditions helped preserve them. In short, the Bloomberg tablets offer a rare glimpse into Roman London's daily life. If you found this video interesting, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.